We had a lovely sunny weekend, so I decided what better time to film a video regarding SPF. So I sat down to draft this post and it started raining. Then I finished the draft, I took out the equipment, I started filming and it started raining outside and the temperature dropped to 9 degrees. I'll just put that out as a word of warning because if the weather will change after you watch this video, I'm in no way held responsible. Hi everyone and welcome back to Linda Libra Loca. Today I want to talk about a topic that is very dear to my heart, and that is sunscreen. Of course, sunscreen is a topic that is very important throughout the year, but somehow we get the attention of people when we're talking about sunscreen way better when the sun is actually out. I want to cover a few facts about sunscreen, a few misconceptions about sunscreen, and tell you how I do it. But there are two reasons, and funnily enough, the one that gets people to wear sunscreen is the anti-aging properties. The UV rays break down collagen, which leads to saggy face, wrinkles, they lead to hyperpigmentation, they increase acne scarring, all that beauty stuff. And that's true. Wearing SPF is one of the few scientifically proven ways to reduce the signs of aging. But to me, that's kind of strange that that's the main reason why people wear sunscreen. Because the other thing these UV rays do is DNA damage, which leads to skin cancer, which leads to dying. It seems that we are more afraid of getting wrinkles and hyperpigmentation than we are of dying. We are vain creatures. Skin cancer is diagnosed at a very young age these days, and the reason being is that we are much more exposed to the sun than our grandparents were, because we can afford to fly out there, spend our days in the sun lying at the beach. The problem is 5 sunburns that you have until the age of 20 will increase your risk for skin cancer by 80%. I don't know about you, but I had way more than 5 sunburns until I was 20. I sometimes had 5 a year. This is why we're going to see an increase in the amount of skin cancer diagnosed in very young people. The 3 things we are protecting ourselves against is UVA rays, UVB rays, and emerging in the last years infrared rays. UVA rays are responsible mainly for the aging. They break down collagen, they lead to hyperpigmentation, to fine lines and wrinkles. UVB rays cause sunburn, and both cause damage to the DNA and thus cause skin cancer or increase the risk of skin cancer. Infrared rays are very common. This is what produces the warmth when the sun hits our skin. And it has been only in the last few years that there has been more and more knowledge that these infrared rays lead to damage done to our DNA as well. Lancaster has just released a new SPF that promises infrared protection alongside with UVA and UVB protection. Now we all know that we need UVA and UVB both in our sunscreen, but infrared is not as common. I'm not sure how many other companies do infrared filters. And the truth is, it's not really infrared filters that they're doing, because the infrared rays lead to oxidation on our DNA, and thus they add antioxidants to the SPF. Now we all know antioxidants as part of our regular skincare, and I personally love to apply antioxidant skincare in the morning, so I don't mind my SPF to contain some antioxidants as well. Chemical sunscreen is basically a sunscreen that absorbs into your skin and reacts with your skin cells to absorb the UV rays. Research has shown that they are not only absorbed into the skin cells, but that a part of them travel throughout the body and can act like hormones on your body. And in animal experiment, that increased the risk of cancer. So they have gotten a bad reputation, and recommendation was not to use chemical sunscreens, especially on small children. The other sunscreen you can use is physical sunscreen, but physical sunscreens used to be very hard to distribute, and they left a white cast, a film on your skin, so you look ghostly and pale after applying them, and they have a horrible flashback. The reason being is that they just do that. They film a layer on top of your skin that reflects the light. So they flash back, and they flash back the UV rays. Physical sunscreen has improved quite a lot, and many people think it's safe to use physical sunscreen over chemical sunscreen. But the problem is you have to pay a price for the improvement in physical sunscreen. The companies broke the physical sunscreen down to nanoparticles. And these nanoparticles are really easy to distribute, and you can't really notice them. There's no white cast once you apply them. But they are so small, they are absorbed into your body. And no one knows what they do once they're in there, because there's just not much research on that topic. You have to choose what you're more comfortable with. I personally usually use a mixture. I use SPF that contains physical and chemical sunscreens, just because I'm not that afraid of using chemical sunscreens, and most SPFs you can get contain both. I think the bottom line is it's your decision what kind of sunscreen you're using, as long as you are using sunscreen, because using no sunscreen increases the risk of cancer way more than using a chemical or a nano physical sunscreen. Especially when it comes to children, it's very important to know that the skin's own protection against sun damage starts to develop at the age of 2. So newborns and small toddlers should not be exposed to the sun. I guess you should use physical sunscreen, preferable sunscreen that has no nanoparticles. As often as possible, I use protective clothing. My daughter loves them. She thinks they're cool. So there's no problem with getting her to wear it, and there's less area I need to cover in SPF. How long you can stay in the sun without using sunscreen depends on your skin type. Me, being European, fair with light eyes, I have a protective time 3 to 10 minutes maximum per day. So by using sunscreen, you can increase the time you can spend in the sun unprotected. An SPF of 30 will increase your own protection time by 30 times. So when I use 30, I can stay in the sun for 90 to 300 minutes unprotected. That's still not quite a lot if you think spending a day at the beach or going for a hike. Reapplying, which you should do every 4 hours, will not prolong this time. I will not get 30 times longer as often as I apply. I'll get the 30 times longer once, but if I don't apply every 4 hours, the SPF will stop working and I will be left with no protection. You can stay inside the shade, which will reduce the amount of UV rays by 50%. You can stay inside through the high exposure hours, which are between 11:30 a.m. and 3 o'clock p.m. Of course, your skin will build up its own protection when you develop a tan. But what is not commonly known is that it takes 3 weeks to develop fully, and that the SPF equivalent you can reach is 4. There are UV rays present in the winter on cloudy days. Clouds, shadow, they just reduce the amount of UV rays by 50%. So in the winter I can stay outside not 3 to 10 minutes, but 6 to 20 minutes. If I walk to the store to get my groceries, I am exposed that long. So you should really wear your sunscreen all year round. Well, I'm sorry to break the news to you, but yes, if you're close to a window like I am, there's a big window over there, then UVA rays will penetrate that window. There's interesting research they have done with truck drivers, and that research showed that the part of the face that was facing the window on the side showed more signs of aging than the part of the face that faced the inside of the truck. The problem is there is SPF, and I don't want to belittle that, it's in there, but you rarely use enough. I will show you a picture of how much SPF is needed to cover your face and neck. And then you can tell me in the comments below if you have ever once in your life used that much moisturizer or foundation on your face. Adding SPF to your foundation and your moisturizer will just give you a false sense of security because you think, oh yeah, well, I slathered something on, it's SPF 12, but you will not get the SPF of 12. You need UV rays to produce vitamin D. And there are many grown-up people that have vitamin D deficiency, but most of them are elderly people that rarely leave the house. If you spend outdoors 3 minutes on a cloudy day with your hands uncovered, that's enough to get your vitamin D production going. Baking in the sun will not increase the amount of vitamin D because your body can't store it properly. Back in the days when I was a kid, sunscreen was horrible. It was always thick, it would leave you oily, it would leave you greasy, it would leave a film on your skin, and this is still how I feel when I think about sunscreen. But these days there are so many great products that you can use, and I have a few here to show you that I personally use. And one is the Sunscreen Sun Fluid. It's mattifying, so I really like to apply it in the summertime as a base all over my face. It works great as a primer beneath makeup. It still feels a little like sunscreen, and I recently discovered another one, or my mother discovered it, which is why I have to insert a picture now. And that one feels just like a serum. It feels just like you apply a water-based serum to your face. It's amazing. There's no excuse of not wearing that kind of SPF. These days there are some things you can put on top that don't disrupt the makeup. And the one I'm using is the Bioderma Moisturizing Anti-UV Mist. And this one is SPF 30. And I'll just show you. You spray it liberally, and there you go, protection renewed. And it's the perfect size for the handbag. That concludes my ramble about SPF. If you have any questions, or if you want another skincare topic covered, or just if you want to tell me about your experience with SPF, share some products that are awesome, please leave it in the comments below, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!